Sir Simon Rattle. Do you like the Sir, or do you prefer to do without it?
It always sounds as though someone has a terrible stutter. I loved hearing about Stephen Spender, the poet, when he was in America, saying, "But everybody calls me Suspenders." Anyway, no, please, Simon, yeah. But anything's better than Maestro.
Oh, I don't go.
Nobody does, but in America
No.
they really do.
Well, it's
Seriously.
important for those who like that sort of word. That is the sort of word they like, as Jean Brodie said. I want to say 10 years ago was the last time we met in this very room here at the Barbican. At the time, you were firmly ensconced in Berlin with the Philharmonic, but there were tantalising rumours going round the London musical world that you might be persuaded to come home. And now you have come home, so welcome back. How do you find the British musical scene?
Well, look, I mean, it's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, it's so alive. I mean, the fact that we're always saying the word despite in every sentence, I mean, how it flourishes in the degree it does with the minuscule support it gets is one of the world's miracles. But it's alive and healthy and kicking. The musicians are working like kind of pack dogs, but playing out of their skins. And so it's a pleasure. I mean, this is a country with so many wonderful orchestras, and I'm thrilled to be with this particular group who I really love.
They've traditionally been a very independent-minded group of players. Does that still prevail, or?
Oh, I mean, of course, but after Berlin, this is kind of like Shaun the Sheep. It's, of course they are, but the fact that they have that kind of character also is part of the way they play, because once a concert comes here, however exhausted everybody is, you know that they will give the last drop of blood. And if it was an army, you would say, I mean, there aren't conscripts in this orchestra. This is a group of people who are going to go for it. And this is an amazing support for any conductor to have. They're a real performing bunch.
You very much hit the ground running when you came back to London. Suddenly it was as if you'd never been away.
I'm so sorry about that. Not him again.
I mean that in the nicest possible way. It's really very exciting, because you didn't sort of just dip a toe into the repertoire water. You got going on exciting projects.
Well, look, if you've got an orchestra like this, you actually must, because actually they will do anything. And we've gone from Rameau to music written yesterday, and nothing seems to faze them. If it's new, they sit up and they're interested. If it's old, they attack it with the relish of an old friend.
So what about immediate future plans? I mean, I can't ignore, in this year of grace 2020, Ludwig van Beethoven. How is the LSO commemorating his big anniversary?
Oh, I mean, poor Ludwig. I mean, he'd probably be horrified to think that we were playing so much of his music in this time. He'd kind of wonder, well, don't you have any music of your own? I mean, but he's inescapable for very, very good reasons. And I hope at least we'll find some new perspectives on the pieces. I mean, of course, we are doing some of the big major works, but also, I mean, as we speak today, I will be rehearsing his early oratorio, Christ on the Mount of Olives, which is, I mean, absolutely top drawer of Beethoven. And I simply am perplexed as to why this isn't known. So we do this on the day of the actual birthday. Christian Zimmermann, the great Polish pianist and quasi-lunatic, has agreed, well, not even agreed, he came up with the idea that we would play all the 5 concertos in one concert.
Wow.
I've never known anyone do that before. But he said, we should mark this somehow. and we should really make a journey. And we'll see whether it's physically possible to do.
Well, that's very much in the spirit of Beethoven, isn't it? He did
Well, it
these
is.
mammoth concerts.
They were monster concerts, and of course you remember that they were absolutely up to date contemporary music then, and some of them still are now.
Yeah,
so
the ink still wet on
maybe
the
he
page.
would have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think he would, because he was a contrary old so-and-so, wasn't he? In
Well,
many
yeah,
ways,
I mean, composers often are, but I think he was a special case among all of them. But I had never played a Beethoven symphony with the London Symphony Orchestra, so dealing now with the seventh for the first time, I mean, this is such a pleasure, because if you have a group of musicians, you ask politely, do you think you could possibly drive this truck off the top of the mountain? Everybody goes, oh, sure, yes, be interested to see when it hits the bottom, what will happen. And there is absolutely no point in playing Beethoven as a routine of anything, because it just doesn't thank you. It asks, I mean, as a singer, it asks for more than anybody can possibly do. But it does of orchestras as well. And people sometimes say to me, oh, this will be one of you know these pieces backwards, this will be a nice, easy year for you. And you have to say, are you kidding? There is no such thing as an easy piece of Beethoven.
One of the most popular pieces, individual movements we play on Classic FM, is the opening of his Pastoral Symphony. Because it's beautiful, and because Beethoven himself loved going for long walks in the country, armed with a notebook and a pencil. And the more you listen to it, and I know it very, very well anyway, the more you hear. There's no way of taking a holiday while playing, even that jolly let's go to the country opening movement, because it's so much the woodwind bird calls and all the little details to get nailed.
But it's also, I mean, for Beethoven, I mean, that's probably the dearest of all the symphonies to me. It's, why do I now have a reason to be alive? I mean, when the storm comes, it's really clear that this is not about the weather, that this is also a complete psychological breakdown, and that the finale is not only a thanksgiving that it is finished, but a thanksgiving that he is still alive. I mean, as a composer who had written himself out of suicide by writing the Eroica Symphony, I mean, the pastoral of all the pieces seems to go deepest to why am I still here when, as a composer, the most important sense I have is gone? How can I deal with life, and how thankful can I be that I've survived? And in this, this kind of little prayer at the end of the pastoral, which is like your kids saying, I love you without kind of artifice, that I'd find almost intolerably moving. And still, here we are, we're celebrating this anniversary, and still he is here speaking to us every day.
Yeah, 250 years
exactly.
since he himself was born.